And for more on the topic now, we're joined by Vered Shavit, a blogger of the blog Digital Dust, a lecturer and speaker. Appreciate you being with us.
Thank you for having me, David.
Welcome to the Daily Beat.
Thank you.
First of all, you run a very interesting blog that touches on this topic that we've just learned about in the report here. Tell us about it.
Thank you. It's called the Digital Dust. It exists both in Hebrew and in English. And I focus about the virtual, digital, and online aspects following death today, the crossover between technology and death.
Which is more and more relevant, I feel,
as
we're all so involved on our phones and everywhere else. We're always connected. So that, does that last?
Absolutely. Currently, when a person passes away, they don't only leave behind a physical legacy and memories only in other people's minds. They leave behind a vast digital legacy, and so much of what we create and so much of what represents ourselves today is online and virtual and digital. No one prints pictures and puts them in albums on the shelves anymore, and no one writes a paper diary. So much of what we leave behind will be left on certain platforms and websites, and there's a huge gap between how relevant it is, because like you say, everyone in this current modern era, at least in our part of the globe, is going to die leaving behind this huge, vast digital legacy. And it's relevant to everyone, again, in this part of the globe, and yet so few people are aware of this. And this is causing a lot of pain, because when someone passes away and he didn't manage his digital legacy while he was still alive, his family suddenly finds themselves at a loss, because they're not sure, should we go into his online accounts or not? If so, how? We don't have usernames and passwords. How can we respect his or her wishes when we're not sure what they were? And each platform and ISP and website have their own policy regarding granting access or not to the even legal heirs and family relations of the first circle. So it's another thing that grieving, bereaved people have to deal with now.
Are there answers to these questions yet, or is this something that our generation is just now dealing with? I mean, what's next for, let's say, our children's generation here in terms of being so immersed in the digital world? Are there answers to how we manage this yet? Is this a new phenomenon now, as people, you're right, in our part of the globe are so involved digitally?
Yeah. There are some steps being made in the right direction, but we're not there yet. Google were the first to put an in-house solution with their inactive account manager. Facebook were the second with their solution to appoint a legacy contact. Both solutions aren't good enough yet, but it's a step in the right direction. And a lot of websites are currently offering solutions to manage your digital legacy online, because it's silly to manage digital legacy offline, because no one would go back and update a piece of paper each time they open a new account or update their password. So currently, in this part of the globe, we are very much reluctant to mention death and deal with death. And people think that only when they reach a certain age and a certain amount of physical assets will they be writing a will. And what I'm saying is that it's so much more important to manage our digital assets than it is to manage our physical assets. And we should be doing this from a very young age, because people can be...
I ask you that. Do you recommend that this is something that everyone already thinks about and deals with?
Absolutely. Abroad, here in Israel, it's kind of hard to get people to acknowledge the issue yet, but abroad, yes, definitely. You can see the White House posted a blog post back in 2012 urging people to manage in the White House blog, the official blog of the White House. So yeah, people around the globe are getting it, how important it is, and how relevant it is to everyone. But like I said, there's still this huge gap between awareness and dealing, and definitely we should be managing our digital legacy while we're still alive, so our wishes could be respected, and to save our loved ones as much heartache and headache as we can, because they're going to be in so much pain anyway. So at least let's spare them this part of the pain that we can.
And to think about it, you mentioned keeping a paper diary. That's something that's out of date now. In a way, are we, on a day-to-day basis, are we writing our own autobiography in some ways? I mean, this is
Absolutely.
Pieces we leave behind, whatever things we post to Twitter. Are we writing that as we speak?
Absolutely. We're self-commemorating. In the past, only people of certain, how should I say it? Like only, like generals, kings could create monuments that will be lasting through the centuries. And now each one of us, without having a kingdom, can create a huge monument that will digitally outlive us. And, you know, in Egypt we have physical pyramids, but currently each one of us has this virtual huge pyramid which is floating above our heads. And in it there's so many pictures, and in the past we used to make pictures only on special events. Today we have a picture when we're eating ice cream. So we're living this huge...
Every day, pretty much.
Yeah, so we're living this huge virtual pyramids floating around us, and each one of us is doing it. We don't have to be a king or a general to earn that. So yes, definitely we are self-commemorating, and that's another problem. How do we sift through it all? How do we find the significant bits that our loved one left behind? But it's easier to have the access and then figure out how to sort through it than to be locked outside and realize how much you have lost of your loved one because you don't have access or copies of all the digital legacy.
Very interesting. Vered Shavit, you've definitely given me some things to think about here, and I assume as well to our viewers. Appreciate your time on the Daily Beat.
Thank you for having me.